It's almost 3. You hear the phrase people use, back in the day. What's your back in the day? What is it? My image of back in the day would be back after Civil War with horse and buggy and all the nice attire they had in the plantation homes. That would be my first image of back in the day. Not my personal back in the day would be referred to when I was a kid. But you really want to go back in the day, go back when Christ brought Lazarus back from the dead. And he said, Lazarus, come forth. And then later, Lazarus died again. That's really back in the day. But what makes me laugh is the people that say back in the day they're young. Yeah. The older I get, the more I see young people act like they're old. I would think a good benchmark to where you can talk about, at least in the lines of being old, you'd have to be a half century old. You got to be at least 50. We average 77, 78. Some make it to 80, 90. Few get up around 100. But you got to be at least 50 to act like you're old. See some, back in the day, well, I said, what? Back in the day, you were playing with a Barbie doll 7 years ago. What the hell you talking about? Really? You had cell phones back in the day to you. How's that back in the day? What you talking about? I see it all the time. And you got to be at least 50. Not many live to be 100. No. My mom says she didn't want to live to be that old. I said, well, why not? Because I'll see everybody I know die, and then some of the kids die. But when you're young, you don't think about that. But it's true. And then look what it'll cost you to live from 80 to 100. Yeah, even if you're living moderately. Go figure that out. Have fun. I learned more in the last 20 years than I ever did in my life. You add the rest together, it's not even close. I realized the first 10 years of my life, I was just having foundation being built as a human being. And I experienced things, but I was just having foundation being built as a person. And then teenage years, here we go. Your whole world is the high school you're at, who's popular, what's going on, who you want to date. The world's that big. You haven't really experienced hurt or resentment or people of true and fake intent. None of that stuff. No. And you get to a certain age and you start seeing patterns and see how people are. Like that's what I'm saying. The last 20 years I learned more than I ever did. And you can't learn that in books. I'm not talking about capacity to learn and memorizing and learning specific things. There's stuff you cannot get without experience. No, you can't get experience reading a book. Can't do it. No. Ben Shapiro was answering questions in some kind of auditorium once, and a girl stood up and started talking about identifying as this and that and this and that. And he was arguing with his point that you can't be what you're not. And he said, why don't you identify as someone that's 60? And she stood there puzzled. She didn't know what he was talking about. And then the people started laughing, and she was kind of embarrassed because she didn't know what he meant. He was saying, he was trying to make the point, you cannot identify as what you're not. You haven't experienced life to even be 60. How can you identify as a 60-year-old when you haven't experienced the time to even do it? There's no way to do it. It's absolutely impossible. You can't get experience without going by experiencing things. No, it's not something you can read in a book or buy. No. And being around your species added decades makes a huge difference. That's why I'm so about the truth now in people of true intent versus fake intent. Who's true to the intent? Their intent. It doesn't matter what it's in. It could be in anything, any category across the board. Who's manipulating people? Who's not true to their intent or what they claim? Yeah. You don't see any of that young. No. Nope. It takes a long time to see all that. I'm saying to people saying back in the day, yeah, really, like they're old. Yeah, they're in their 20s and early 30s and trying to act like they're old. No, I don't think so. Why am I talking about this? Yeah, look, my beard's white. The sides look like they got some dark in it. No, I don't think so. Once it gets going, no. Back in the day, really? They're not even in the vicinity of ever seeing a gray hair yet and act like they're back in the day. Yeah, back in the day you had a cell phone. Yeah, that's real back in the day. No. Nope. Yeah, I think you need to be at least 50 to act like you're old. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a fair number. Because people 50 have been here longer than they're going to be in general. Yeah. I mean, a few maybe not, but people that are 50 and over have been here longer than they're going to be by a high percentage. Then they can start referring to their age. These young ones trying to do it. 1, 2, 3, stop.